I am David Cade, the CEO of the American Health Law Association. Each year, the Board of Directors approves a slate of esteemed individuals selected by the Fellows Coordinating Council as AHLA Fellows. These longtime members have shown a commitment to the association through their participation as speakers, authors, mentors, and leaders. They are regarded as one of the top health law professionals in the legal community, and all have been actively practicing for 15 or more years. While the bios for these new fellows are posted on AHLA's website, it is just a snapshot of their many accomplishments. I want to give you a chance to hear from them personally and directly, and learn more about why they deserve the Fellows honor. The 2024 Fellows class includes 4 exceptional individuals. Today, I have the distinct honor to be speaking with Joanne R. Hello, Joanne. How are you doing today?
Good, David. Thanks.
Well, I want to kick things off and having you look backwards a little bit and to tell us, why did you go to law school and why did you pick health law?
Interesting question, David. I started out thinking I might want to be a high school history teacher. Decided that wasn't right for me at the time, particularly because jobs were very scarce in that area. So I started looking for a profession that I thought would be intellectually challenging, give me an opportunity to do a lot of research and writing, and maybe make an impact on social policy. So law school was pretty much the obvious solution to all those questions. Now, why health law? That is basically due to the opportunities that were presented to me at my law school's placement center. Most of the opportunities were big law, and most of the big law firms really were interested in real estate and tax and securities, and I knew that wasn't going to be a good fit for me. And then I picked up the big law firm that I ended up at, which was Dykema's brochure, and there was a whole section on health law. And it just spoke to me immediately. It was a chance to really do truly social policy things to impact individual people in the sense of, patient care issues. And it was a new area at the time. That was 1978. And it sounded like just exactly the right fit. And it really has been.
I agree. It has been exactly the right fit. I feel sorry for those high school students that didn't get you as a teacher. But the health law community has definitely benefited from you becoming a health lawyer. And so thinking back again, what do you wish you knew when you were in law school?
Oh, I wish I knew what practice of law was really like. Back in the day in 78, my law school at least was focused on a lot of appellate brief writing and a lot of theory and very, very little hands-on work with clients. There weren't any clinics or, experiences other than a summer associate option, in the summer working in a law firm. Just didn't know what practice of law would be like. And also didn't really know different opportunities besides practicing in big law. My school just didn't go there. I didn't know there were, social justice opportunities or in-house compliance opportunities, that I wish I had known that there were more options. I'm not saying I wouldn't necessarily have gone to big law, but it would have been nice to know what the other choices were and then how to truly practice in big law once I went there.
Well, the good news is, I think the law schools and professional schools have heard you and have revamped many of their programs to be more practical. And so that being said, if you could give your younger self, I'm still looking backwards here, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be? And I ask because folks new to the profession, folks who are considering professional opportunities, are often listening to these short videos and hearing from folks who have been on the journey before them is always helpful. So if you think back, knowing what you know today, what one piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Well, in terms of a whole worldview perspective, I would advise myself to be authentic. When I started out in my law firm, as I said before, I really didn't know what practicing law was going to be like. So I thought I needed to act like people who were successful. And of course, you need to be mentored and learn all the good practice pointers of people who are successful. But I didn't need to be them, but I thought I did. And it took a good number of years to figure out that, hey, I will be much better if I learn to say what I think with respect and, civility and all that, but speak up for what I think and not always try to please other people and not be sincere. And I think that carries way, way beyond just the practice of law, but, to all life experiences.
That's a good life lesson. Be authentic. Yes, I agree. You mentioned, though, a mentor. Maybe you've had several throughout your years. So let me ask, did you have a mentor that was critical to your career?
I was fortunate enough to have two. One is a person that some AHLA people may know, who was Cade. She was the practice group leader of the health law section at my firm, probably one of the first health lawyers ever, and certainly one of the first women health lawyers. She was phenomenal in just taking me under her wing and helping with all the substantive law issues that come up in a new area of law, but also, how to practice as a woman in a law firm that didn't have many women. And then I also had a mentor who was assigned to me when I was a first-year associate, who was only a few years older than me, but just one of the best writers I have ever met in my life. She wrote like Shakespeare. And when she took a red pen to your work, you didn't mind, because when it was done, it's like, wow, this is so much better. Plus, she was a great kind of irreverent personality. You could joke around with her and not take yourself too seriously. So I really did. I was very fortunate to have two wonderful mentors.
That's a good message to also carry forward. Now, as we take a bit of a pause, just reflect back on your distinguished career, what has been the accomplishment you are most proud of and why?
Yeah, that is interesting, and it involves an aspect of health law that I think few people associate with health law. So one area that I practiced in a lot was assistive reproductive technology. It started out by assisting hospital infertility clinics and then some infertility physician practices and being involved in hospital social work departments. And I branched off to actually representing people who needed to use the technology. So that was typically infertile couples, single people, LGBTQ people, and helping them in a variety of ways start a family is just the coolest thing ever. It is the most fulfilling thing to see people get something that they truly, truly desire and are unable to get without help. Now, clearly, they need the medical help, right? I mean, I wasn't doing the reproductive technology, but there were a lot of legal aspects when there's a third party involved in gestation, surrogates and things like that, where you need contracts and court appearances. And I just found that whole thing was the best aspect of my practice.
Sounds like one of those that's not just the law, the legal policy, but you are able to sort of see your way through to actually helping people. There was a real person, not just a client, a policy client on the other side, but real people.
Yep. And that was, as I said earlier, one of the things that kind of attracted me to health law was that there was an opportunity to really impact individuals.
That's
And yeah,
great.
it's a lot more satisfying than, looking at corporate tax. I know there are people who would disagree, but
But I agree with you. I think that is very satisfying. Now, thinking about sort of guidance again to those who are starting their career and entering in, Can you share what traits you feel are most important in being an effective health lawyer?
Well, health law in its more classic sense, leaving out the assisted reproductive stuff, is an ever-changing legal landscape. So I think it is absolutely critical to get yourself educated on all of the new laws that are coming down and just be agile. Don't think you know something, because chances are, you knew it yesterday, but it may not be true today. The landscape just changes so fast. So be agile, be nimble, be willing to rethink things when different laws may impact what you're doing.
So, what do you see as the biggest challenge now facing the healthcare industry today?
Well, I do think that there is a trend for healthcare providers to act more and more like for-profit businesses. Some of them actually are for-profit businesses, but even the ones that aren't are behaving more and more business-oriented. And I personally feel that does not have a wonderful impact upon patient care. And going back again to my interest in patient care, I feel that's far more important than the bottom line. And also, I think there's a huge labor shortage, which is really going to bite people in my age group, seniors who are going to need more health care. And there's always the kind of threat about AI out there where people are worried about how that's going to impact the delivery of health care.
That is so true. And in fact, bit of a shameless plug, we just had our first in-person AI conference last week in Chicago. And so for the listening public, I would say there's more to come. We will be back in person with another AI conference. You're right, Joanne, there is so much going on in the nature of the practice and the nature of healthcare delivery that's impacted by AI. And so we in our role are going to do what we can to keep people educated about what is going on as it affects their practices and their clients. So let me ask about AHLA. Why did you join AHLA?
Well, because health law was an ever-changing, rapidly evolving practice, I clearly wanted to join an organization that would be a one-stop educational outlet for really high-quality information, and that was AHLA for sure. I also wanted to network with other people in health law, and AHLA was the platform for that. I mean, I not only made some wonderful professional colleagues, but people who are, long-term friends, just personal friends. And AHLA has been absolutely wonderful for both those reasons.
Would you say that the connections and the networking was the most important benefit to you, or the black letter law?
Oh, I think they're both very important. But in terms of it, actual tangible, like product benefit from AHLA, I think the practice groups were really essential. I belonged to maybe 2 or 3 of them. And that was the place to get really drill down information and to meet people who were right in your industry. So they were the clear vehicle to get both of the things that I was looking for from AHLA.
So would you say that it was the AHLA practice groups that allowed you to remain connected to your health law colleagues?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, before I get to my last question about fun, I do think when we talk about staying connected, I know you retired. I had the benefit of working with you not only as a board member, but in the nature of the practice. I think it's fair to give a plug to your blog. I find it fascinating. I love reading it every month when it comes out. So for those who are listening and want to stay connected, what do you think?
Well, okay. One of the things I've taken up in retirement is writing a blog called Cranky Retiree. And I definitely fit both those categories, cranky and retiree, where I can talk about any topic that I want, not necessarily law, all different kinds of things, some personal, some current events, some just griping about various things. And, if anybody is interested, I believe it is searchable under Cranky Retiree and blog. And I probably put something out every 2 weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks.
And I think it's important to share because it's a reminder that there's more to what we do every day than the narrow questions that we might get from a client or a particular problem we're solving. There's a lot going on in life. So I appreciate that you're doing it and sharing that information, those insights with folks, which leads me up to my last question for you, which is, what do you do for fun? How do you balance life?
Oh, David, you would be sorely disappointed in what I do for fun. I am probably one of the most boring people that you know. But aside from writing, which I dearly love, I do a lot of reading. I belong to several book clubs on a consistent basis, and a few more on a sporadic basis, depending upon what they're reading at the time. I particularly love right now being with and playing with my 5-year-old granddaughter. That is kind of the apex of my life right now, to just get down and silly with her and, roll on the floor and nobody's looking, nobody cares. It's just one of the great joys of being retired, which is to have time to actually do that.
I don't find that boring at all, Joanne. I love your response to that. And again, the reminder how important it is for us to take care of ourselves, to be balanced, and what you've done throughout your career and still do is giving back to others. So with that, I say thank you and just keep doing what you're doing. And congratulations again on being selected as an AHLA Fellow, an honor very well deserved. So thank you, Joanne.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much.